me see. It should be on mute. Let me see what happens.
I'm still just waiting.
Yeah, it's always a little behind. It say we live. Hey, everybody. Look, it ain't moving over here.
No, it ain't happening.
Yeah, probably my janky internet, y'all.
You pay the bill?
I know where I paid the bill, yes, but you know these trees. Okay, there we go. We live. All right, everybody. How y'all doing? Thank you for joining us this evening. It's a little later than I normally go live, but I got a special guest today in the house, right? So this is one of several interviews we've already had. This is a little different though, you know, being face to face, and getting to meet you in person. Finally, it's the same person you see on the other screen. He's the same person. If you ask me in person, so we're gonna get into a couple conversations tonight. We of course want to talk about where the NFAC is at, anything that we can be looking forward to, anything that you want to put out there about what you're doing. We're going to talk about some politics tonight, right? We're going to talk about some voters fraud. And I'm hearing, we'll get into that a little later, but, you know, I'm hearing that, you know, this voter fraud, some things might be flipped. Some states was playing some games. And so everybody out there jumping, Trump might actually be your president. So y'all celebrate too fast. But we're going to talk about that and anything else that comes up in the conversation. So we just going to have a laid back conversation and invite you guys in to be a part of that. Shout out to my moderators if they in the house. If trolls want to come, let them stay. I'm okay with trolls today. So if they want to be up here talking mess, it's kind of late. If they up past their bedtime to talk junk, we know they just love me and Grandmaster Jay. That's why they really here. So with that said, I'm going to introduce to, I don't know who I will be introducing him to, because if you don't know him by now, like you must have been sleeping under a rock. You just got out of a coma. I can't even say using another country, because in the other countries, they talking about this brother and the work that he's doing. So if you don't know, I don't know what you've been doing. I don't know what the hell you've been doing. But anyway, shout out to Grandmaster Jay in the house, the leader of the NFAC. I just want to say thank you for coming in here, and go ahead and say whatever you want to say to the guests, and let me know what's going on with you guys right now today.
Look, we family, so we're gonna go ahead and kick it off just like this. First of all, I gotta say I really love the new studio. I'm going to go ahead and give props out. I walked in and saw the purple light, and I knew at that point it was going to be real. And this wasn't going to be one of them conversations where I got to take people apart, so we can talk freely. I'm glad we had a chance to sit down. No, we are not practicing social distancing right now, because contrary to popular belief, I've been asking this question for everybody that I have run into for the last 72 hours all over the place. I keep asking this question: do you know anybody? And I know somebody going to say, you know, came up and said that. In your immediate circle, I don't mean somebody who knows somebody who could, and somebody next door that rode the bus that you sat next to in church. I'm talking about somebody in your immediate circle, just right off the top, friend, mama, cousin, that actually has COVID-19. Now, you might be somebody out there saying, yeah, I got somebody, but nobody I've talked to, nobody, not on this side of the melanated world. No, we sitting there like, well, we're not saying it's not happening, but we don't see it. That's a narrative that they want to feed you. That melanated people are the ones that's being the most victimized, because we get poor health care. That's the excuse. But now it's supposed to be this uptick all of a sudden. Then I must be invincible. And you too. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. Really, that's my intro.
That's his intro. That's my boom. That's what it is. All right.
Go ahead and roll with that. I'm going to piss everybody off, man. Let's get it going.
We got some trolls in the house early. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are subscribed, because I don't be live for like 3 minutes and y'all be in the house, boys. So we want to thank you for being a subscriber.
I heard what you said the other day about the trolls. Normally we ignore the trolls, but trolls, we're gonna give you some double love right now. When you was talking about that they really in love with you, but they don't know how to handle their love. I'm gonna tell you something. Any grown man that's sitting out there spending all your mental energy thinking about another man to the point where you're going to make up fake profiles just so you can say what you want to say, but you can't look away. You in love, bro. But it's okay. I love all my peoples, but you really love us because you can't contain yourself. So I love the trolls. Big shout out to the trolls.
Y'all do though. It's so funny. It is more laid back. We just go see in studio or not see. That's why he was like, I was trying to be off from like, thank you very much for joining us this evening. He was like, Mechee, if you don't just, go ahead back to the way we was talking before we started this live. So we chilling, but y'all are very funny, because that's love for people. Y'all really admire those of us that y'all do that too. There's no other way around it. I don't subscribe to people that I don't like, that I hate. And as soon as they live, I be on it like, hold on, mom, be quiet. She coming on. I hate her, but I gotta watch this. I don't know who does that except for people who are confused in their emotions for how they really feel about you. They either see something in you that they can't be and they want to be, so it make them angry. That's all they really be, you know. That's all. So we appreciate trolls. You can let them stay. I know everybody got all this kind of. Somebody say he don't know nothing about guns. I guess.
He ain't seen our latest video, have
Yeah, yes, I'm saying I've seen it, right? Right. I've seen it, yes. So, you know, it's footage. Folks is out here training. The question is, what are you doing? What are you doing to make a difference? I'm gonna keep saying that because I get tired of people bringing this up and not to give people, you know, or the haters or the negative any attention or anything like that. But I think that it's enough of it in our communities that it's just something to be addressed. And my thing is, before you talk about anybody else, I want you to shut up if you're not doing nothing. If you don't have a plan or a solution,
let me go ahead and open up with that right here and go ahead and set it off real quick since y'all obviously think that we playing around up in here. To all of you people out there who buy into internet lies, who don't do their research, who don't know no more than a man in the moon, ain't gonna bust a grape in a fruit fight. The internet gave rise to what we call the internet coward. And a lot of you, I'll say it right here, are cowards because you can sit behind a keyboard or a phone and make up false personalities and say whatever you choose. That's the beauty of this world. But if you had to meet us face to face, you would find out that our weapons are very real. You would find out that all those midnight rides you keep seeing us doing are us out doing just what we should be doing, shooting, not shooting each other, but practicing to shoot people like you. I have no problem saying that. We are doing while you are talking. We are walking while you are talking. We are protecting while you are talking. We are coordinating while you are talking. We are projecting. We got people copying our ideas. Matter of fact, won't none of y'all talking about anything with guns until we started walking with guns. Now everybody's a gun club. Everybody's a militia. Everybody's strapped up short. Everybody's talking about everything that you spun off of this movement for the last 6 months. So don't come to me talking about what we don't know when we show you what we do by action. And all you do is keep commentating in this fictitious world that's not real we call social media. I have already opened up the floor that any of you that think you can outdo or do better, there's always room. There's enough racism going around. There's enough police brutality going around. There's enough cases out there for you to go and make a difference going around. You don't have to contend and be divisive against your own people when all you have to do is either do better or do just as good. But to sit there and criticize somebody because you're afraid of what we represent, because you're afraid that we bring unity, because we have gotten over our differences to even sit down and work together, because we get over the thing that makes us beautiful is the fact that we're different. That's our beauty. Nobody wants to be cookie cutter. Nobody wants to be equal. We all wants to be special. And your problem is you haven't realized what your purpose is. So don't hate on somebody who walks in theirs. I gave y'all that one for free, and I stopped by just for a few minutes to hang out with Mechee so we could talk about some things that thinking people want to talk about. That's all I got to say about that. So you can make all the little comments you want, but you don't do your research, you don't know your facts, and at the end of the day, don't forget what the initials NFAC stands for. Not fucking around may be the name of the coalition, but we also don't entertain petty. And if that's all you have, this is not the conversation for you. To all my brothers and sisters out there, all around the world that's tuned in, that rock with us, I salute you. To all the members of the NFAC that have tuned in, I salute you. To all of the children of the Most High, I salute you. And everybody else who just came along to spectate tonight, I welcome you, including the trolls who obviously ain't got nothing better to do. I came to build with my sister Mechee. Mechee, I think I said enough. I'm gonna sip on my water over here.
I just want to say, I will say this to the moderators. My moderators in the house, not that I care about the trolls, but I do want to say this before the chat gets all caught up in the conversation. If y'all okay with the trolls, fine. But what I don't want to see, we are gonna have a conversation, about some real stuff. So we're not gonna give these trolls all this attention. So
I just wanted to
like homeboy, and he keeps saying ball pup, like projection. You don't even have a picture, my nigga. Shut up. You probably a white man, okay? You probably live in a trailer park. You got on some Confederate flag drawers. You probably got some ketchup on your shirt from yesterday. Boy, bye. So, I mean, if there are people in there that are just saying stuff to be saying, if it's irritating you, if it is bothering the chat, then you can dismiss them. in that sense. But other than that, ain't nobody worried about these trolls. But I got new trolls in here. You brought trolls with you.
Yes,
I don't know
got
some of y'all.
own,
Y'all new.
I do.
Subscribe while you here. Come back.
I have a troll. I have a troll entourage. Yes, they do. I'm not right unless they show up. They are here, and they listen. Here's the problem. They hate me, but they can't look away. I love them. I love all of 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 them.
Ooh, it's love. So, y'all do me a favor, like this video, share this video, subscribe if you have not, hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever YouTube is not hating and they let you know that I'm live. So anyway, we want to get into some real conversation. So for people who have keep on saying whatever you want to say, but the bottom line is you're out here doing the work. You're actually literally out here in Atlanta because you're doing the work. And so let's talk about that from the perspective of, I mean, I know you're interviewed all the time. People are always asking about the NFAC, what y'all doing. But for anybody who wants to know what it is that you are doing, how they can be involved in that and what they can look for next as far as moves, as far as what you want to divulge to the public. How can they find out how to get along with what you're doing, find you, work with you, and what are you guys doing at the moment?
Well, first of all, anybody that has a serious interest in being a part of the NFAC would have to submit that reason in writing and their contact information to info@blacknfac.com. Once we receive that information, we would then evaluate whether or not it's valid to begin the process of bringing you into the NFAC. We don't necessarily look for a specific type of individual. Everybody brings something to the table. Mm-hmm. Everybody brings a preordained set of skills with them. And if there's a need within the organization, then of course you'll be brought in. Once you're a member of the organization, you would then be assigned to a state chapter, and every chapter has a different mission. In the last few weeks, a lot of people have been seeing these videos that we've been making where you see all of us out there shooting. Mm-hmm. They don't know what's going on, so they try to read all into it. But what's actually happening is right now, the entire NFAC is going through a quarterly training program where everyone has to qualify with their weapons on an actual range. And then at the end, I let them all do what they've been dying to do. All of us open fire at the same time to demonstrate mass firepower that we possess. And that's what we've been kind of letting people see. They don't know what they're looking at. So they're making all these crazy ass comments. But the truth of the matter is everyone's training. We just did it again here in Georgia. We've already done the state of Virginia. And I'm going to each one of these particular areas personally to certify them. And I'm not there to train them. See, that's another people think that I'm training. I'm not training. I'm there to certify that they're being trained by their own people. Okay. And some of them pass or fail. You may need work to do. So we're behind the scenes actually becoming something that most people don't even understand. And that is a full-fledged militia that's effective, not just here in the United States, but abroad. You all know I just came back from Africa. Right. We've got situations that are happening abroad in Namibia. We've got situations in the Congo. We've got situations in Angola. We've got situations in Nigeria, not just the situations here in America. Every place is a little different. However, the NFAC, because it is affiliated globally, we have to be able to meet those demands. Let's say if someone wants us to send X amount of boots on the ground to a certain country to assist, then that means that if we help them out, they'll help us out. That's another one of our strengths. So tightening our international relations has been another, based on the laws of those states. We
have people who watch from all over. So let me ask you that. A lot of people from the UK and different places come in here. So if they are watching in another place other than here in the United States, do they get in touch with you the same way through the email if they want to find out who they're getting together there?
No.
That is in coalition.
If you're in the UK, the Forever Family or the Nzinga Garvey movement, then those would be your doors of contact. Because remember, the laws are different in every part of the world. So every part of the coalition is molded to that particular environment. Let's, for instance, places where you can't have guns. Right. Of course, they're not going to do what we're doing here in the United States. But then let's look at a place like Nigeria, where they just didn't have any. They just needed somebody to give them some and some instruction, and they take it from there. It depends on your environment, depending on who we're working with. But at the end of the day, like I said, working along with our international partners, also here in the United States, and I think this is where a lot of folks get it twisted. They don't understand the purpose of the militant side of a militia. They're not the police. They're not there to run around and put out every fire. Right. The purpose of the NFAC was to give a blueprint for people to emulate. Okay, to put down the signs and the rainbows that has been assimilated by everyone else because they think that that amounts to resistance. That is not resistance. That's a level of resistance. The same way people start off, they get mad, they start talking, then they started throwing rocks, then they started shooting. There's levels to escalation of this. The same way police escalate situations with us. Then we are an example of the escalation. If it got to a full-blown conflagration where we started shooting people, we have to understand what happens on the other side of that. And that is, and you need to study American history. If we actually started shooting it out with someone, let's say in Louisville, whether we're winning or losing, it's going to spread across America like wildfire. And white people will use it as a justification to go into the streets and start shooting black people down like they did in Atlanta back in 1909. They've done it before. That's why when you hear about these places like Rosewood or Black Wall Street, remember it started with one incident. And then it spread like wildfire, and it wasn't just the people involved that got hurt. So people who always screaming, "Well, I ain't shoot nobody. Why don't they shoot somebody?" If the day that we shoot someone, you can expect that shit to show up on your street immediately. They're waiting. Why do you think there's a shortage of guns right now? Why do you think they're telling you there's no ammo right now? Because they know that now most of the people who are buying weapons now are black people. Black people are arming themselves. 58% of all gun sales now are now black people. Now all of a sudden you can't get no guns. You can't get no ammo now. Why? Because black people, listen, when the NFAC first appeared, they asked, where did we get all these weapons? As if we went out and bought them in a mass. They had the slow realization. Black people are already armed like this. And they got just as much shit as you got. The question is, where's the trigger? To make them actually use
I think that's what they're most concerned and worried about. So, I mean, in saying that, how do you? I know there's a lot of times, I don't know about you, I get emails that people want me to pass on to you all the time. And you said again, like if we go somewhere and you guys start just shooting in the streets, all that's going to do is just allow them to rise up and if in all these places and start chaos. So. Can we talk about, I don't even know if I want to say how you feel, but do people hit you up a lot in every little thing that happens? They want NFAC to like bring all their manpower and come, and they want you to fight every little issue that happens. And sometimes they don't understand that you have to pick and choose based on what the movement is. Have you found that they want you to come police everything?
I believe that in the beginning, that's what people saw. We would receive all types of emails, phone calls, messages, cries for help. I think that as time has unfolded and now that some of the dust has settled and all of the naysayers and all of the people who are running around trying to spread rumors of what we really was, I think that once people begin to realize that we're a strategically thinking organization, that they begin to realize that we're not emotionally driven. We don't fly off the handle to end up in prison or end up dead. That's not to go out in a blaze of glory is not what we're after. So because now they see that there is intelligence that drives this organization, that we're very strategic about what we do, because there needs to be a bigger goal other than just winning the battle and not winning the war.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between wanting relief and wanting release. And a lot of people talk about release when really all they're fighting for is relief from their current situation. So we're not an organization that's there just to win the battle. We're trying to strategize to win the war.
Absolutely. I understand that. I mean, that I get the emails a lot. It's funny. They say, can you pass this on to Grandmaster Jay? I got a friend of a cousin of a brother, and the police is doing him wrong, and they need to come down here and kill everybody. No, I really haven't got an email that said that, but I do get emails all the time. Wow. And I just find that people do. A lot of people want to run to you and they want y'all to come fix everything.
But let's park right there for a second. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with them wanting.
Oh, nothing's wrong with that.
The trick is getting the people to realize you already have that power. I had a police officer ask me, why the guns? And I said, because I'm American and I can.
Why not? They don't ask everybody else that.
No. I wanted him to understand something. Because I'm American and I can. Meaning that your question means nothing.
Right. It's because you're a black man with a gun.
No, I'm not. We ain't gonna get into the black man. The piece is the thing I'm getting at is this. When people have a desire to have us do something that they can do themselves, we keep coming back to this question right here. So you want us to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. Because I always ask them, what do you want us to do?
Right.
I get the letters, y'all got to come down here and what? Murder everybody? Just
Right.
wipe out the town, huh? You obviously have the intelligence of a child if you think that that's something that can happen. But then again, it's not you. So you don't care. So you want someone else to be the sacrifice.
Right.
Now, it's
Yeah.
different if you say, come help us. Look, we're about to raise up and we need y'all on backup. We there. But we've never gotten a call like that, ever.
I think, like you said, it's okay for them to ask because they feel
It's
like they have something to
okay.
reach out to. I think it crosses
okay.
that line when you don't go and see to whatever they think you should be seeing to the moment that people get upset. But
Well,
like you said, they're not doing anything themselves.
Let's address a bigger issue.
They want you to run out there and do it.
Let's take a step back. First of all, we have become a society that is a right now society. We want everything instantaneously right now. We say we want justice when we want revenge. We want it right now. So here's the problem. When you find out that you're dealing with people who until you have all the facts, don't say what you want yet. Because you might devote all your energy to the wrong thing. And then you got to roll that back.
Right.
You got to roll it back. Okay. So what you have to be sure of is, especially when you're dealing with a militia, we're talking a lot of guns. We're talking about a lot of attitudes. We're talking about a lot of different personalities. Before you put people into that type of situation, you better have all the facts.
Right.
And one thing that we've learned that when things first happen, everybody get emotional.
Everybody's emotional.
I can't believe they don't.
Down.
And everybody's an expert. Everybody can do CGI. Everybody knows forensic files. Everybody's a DNA expert. Everybody just knows the motive. Everybody did all this detective work when they haven't done any.
Right.
Then when the story finally all comes out, all of those people disappear. You don't hear from them no more. They get quiet. They get real quiet, right? Because the theory that they put forth just fell all apart. The wheels came off. But what we do is once we get all the facts, if they don't add up and no one will answer the question, now you can apply a militia to the situation. Okay? Don't get it twisted. They're trying to put everybody in the same box. They want you to think of black militia as the same as white militias. White militias have a track record of being racist, violent, and terrorist. And every last one of them has been listed as such. We've been listed as nothing. Another talking point for those of you all who don't do your research, the Southern Poverty Law Center has not listed us as a terrorist group or as a hate group. Matter of fact, they said the moral difference between us and every other organization is miles apart by the way that we function. So you can take that and, like to say, you can miss me with the bullshit.
Right.
Because that's not where this is going. At the end of the day, though, don't ask someone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself, or you have a plan that someone can support. And just because someone else is actually trying to do it, don't always think that one shoe fits all.
Right.
You can't always apply that hammer to everything. Is you don't always respond in kind with violence. That's not saying be nonviolent. It says there's sometimes
wait to pull that out.
Right.
Though.
That is the last resort.
Right.
Now, let me go ahead and say something on your show. I've been saying this a lot. Up to this point, no one has been crazy enough to fire a shot at us untrained, non-able to shoot, fake gun having, fake body armor having, whatever y'all say about us. You say all of that, but no one has ever fired a shot at us. So we've had no reason to fire a shot back. However, it does not mean that we are not prepared to do just that. So I'm telling this to your viewers for a reason. Y'all stop listening to this psychological game they're running on you, trying to scare you or trying to trigger you when they never follow it up with action. They had the Million MAGA March in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
Yes.
Right? Which if you watched it, it was a clown show. They fighting amongst themselves. Matter of fact, Black Lives Matter was there and not a black person was there.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Did you see that?
That was the one thing I noticed. I was telling him earlier, that I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if you guys watched the MAGA March. If you went over to Extraction Attraction, the other channel, Deshaun Farrar was out there. Shout out to him. Go over to that channel, and they did broadcast it, the other network that I'm on. I want to say this too, because there were some people in there like, why we care about this? Why y'all broadcasting? If you think these are your enemies, why wouldn't you want to see what they was doing? You don't want to see what the white folks is doing?
Facts.
The fact that he broadcast from there
Facts.
allowed me to see that there was a bunch of people claiming to be BLM, Black Lives Matter. They were all white. You had the Trump people with the signs talking about, oh, no abortion, life, love all. And I'm laughing because over here's a group of white people and they're like, we're Black Lives Matter. And their signs say, punch a MAGA in the face, beat her down to the ground. Like they didn't say the beat her down part. I'm playing about that. But they did have violent signs. And I'm laughing because the psychology in that is this.
Violent.
In the news, they're going to tell you that Black Lives Matter came out and they were violent. They were angry. They had these signs projecting violence and all of these things. And they're going to tell you Black Lives Matter. We went over this before in the media, and we're going to all get emotional. Like when everybody got emotional about the white boys shooting people, and they were saying he shot Black Lives Matter, and we automatically got mad. Oh, I didn't. And they thought, and you didn't. And they was like, why NFAC didn't show up? He in the streets shooting people, black folks. No, he shot white people. That's not our business. That's called white on white crime.
That happened? Yeah,
yes,
funny,
we both said the same thing where everybody else running around talking about
y'all
white.
Need to slow down and read. Go
crime.
get the facts first before you jump off your emotional tree. Oh, I can't believe it. Like, okay, the situation that I think was one yesterday. Everybody called me up. Oh, they out there attacking black women. I'm like, who's attacking black women? Give me some facts. I'm gonna send you the picture. So they sent me the picture. You know what I mean? This is what I did. Right? They sent me. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing. I'm looking at this picture. I'm going like, okay, there it is, right there. Okay, what exactly do you want me to do? Do you have a name? Do you have a? Is it what? We just want you to come down and do what that you can't do yourself. See, what kills me is black, and I'm talking to black folks. I talk to black folks. I know you got other people that tune in,
well, no,
but black people.
Mostly,
no, hold on. No, I got to say this. No, it kills me that black people don't have no problem coming up with a means or a way to harm each other, whether you do it psychologically, whether you do it culturally, whether you do it financially, whether you do it through a moral way, whether you do it through physically. Y'all ain't got no problem sitting there hating and trying to murder, kill, and destroy people who look just like you, but will not utilize that same energy against the very people that's pissing in your face and calling it rain at the same time. And anybody that sit there and disagree with me, you're a part of the problem.
Absolutely. But that's why I laugh, because we sitting here, it was some months ago. I seen this man with some glasses on, and he was on there talking junk. He was sounding just like me. And now here we are, and you're saying just what I say. No, sit next to me, but I'm with you.
The truth is the truth.
No, we will go to prison all day long. We will risk. I'll go to prison for the rest of my life to get revenge on this person.
Not over some cornbread.
Over the smallest stuff, over territory, over you called me crazy, you looked at me wrong, you talked to my girl, you know, I want your chain, I want your shoes, you disrespected me. We are willing to murder a man, another brother or another sister. We are willing to even spend our life in prison for that. And my thing is, we not scared to die, and we not scared to kill. We have too much reverence for white people. Subconsciously, we don't even realize it, and their life means more because the consequences are the same, but the outcome is different. Because if black people that did all this murdering and gang banging, and you ain't gonna disrespect me to other black people, if they flipped the script on the real enemy and started saying, I die for this, I kill you for killing my people, and they start doing that, guess what? Consequence the same. You're gonna end up dead by the rival gang members or whoever else you messing with. You call them your enemy. You're going to either go to prison or you're going to end up dead. So we give all of that to our own demise, our own detriment, but we won't do it in the fight to get free. So people can't tell me that black folks is scared to stand up and die and fight for what they believe in. We believe in the wrong shit.
Well, I wouldn't say we believe in the wrong shit. I would say that we're still victims of a lot of the mental change that have been socialized onto us for the last 400 years. And now what it is that most folks don't even realize what it feels like to truly be free or to be awake, because you never have been. You have a semblance of being awake. In his book, The Destruction of Black Civilization, Chancellor Williams talks about that before we can ever physically be free, we have to actually separate those psychological chains that some of us are generationally handed. We think that it's right because our mama taught us, and their mama thought it was right because their mama taught them, and on down the line. But if you trace it back to the source, source, you'll find out that it was taught to you that way. It was given to you backwards. At the end of the day, I'm going to keep saying this until I'm blue in the face. It doesn't make a difference how civilized we think we are. It doesn't make a difference what moral level we think we stand on. We're still an entire nation within a nation with amnesia. We don't know who we are for real. We don't know where we came from for real. We don't know our real names for real. We don't know what we've accomplished. They don't want to admit to, even though they steady digging us up and putting us on display, we still walking around a whole nation with amnesia. And the problem with that is, on top of that, now they've infected us with self-hate to the point that when somebody does try to figure out who we really are, when someone does want to try to get over the differences to get back to our greatness, that even if we try to do it by ourselves, they have conditioned a lot of us to do the work that our enemies used to have to work overtime to get done. They don't have to come in. The white man ain't got to come in and criticize the NFAC. There are black folks that'll do it for them just fine. The white man don't have to come in and teach y'all the difference between the NFAC movement, the BLM movement, the LGBTQ movement, and the LMNOP movement, and the midget movement, and any other goddamn movement that's out there, because y'all will sit there and fuck it up for them. Y'all will still sit there and not believe that somebody is just as sick and tired of this as you are. And they're doing something about it. They're not talking about it. They're not trying to sell you an oil about it. They're not trying to sell you a DVD about it. They're not trying to put a trash can on their head and act like they know what they're talking about it, who do no further research than to go to Google or Wiki and then have your dumb ass sitting there chiming in with them to now. I'm sorry, I'm about to cuss everybody out who deserve it. But at the end, that's why I pulled up. You know I was going to pull up. You couldn't open up the studio and think I was going to slide my ass around here. Y'all know I'm the pull-up master. So I done pulled up on me, and I'm sitting here right now, and it's a real moment. And if you can't hang, the exits are clearly marked. You can go ahead and pull off right now. We still going to be here. So I came by to say what was on my mind because you told me that the door was open. The door was open. I got a chance to sit in the green room. If y'all don't know what the green room is, that's how dope it is over here. We're in the green room. At the end of the day, I just want to say, no, it really gets under my skin when I see our people doing the dirty work and then running back to master like you did something. Got them people sitting back and laughing at y'all talking about every time we think they got it together, every time we think they about to move as a nation, every time we think they about to become unified, every time we think that they finally done figured it out, every time we think they got a plan for the streets, every time we think they about to really do something about this institution that started off as slave chasing that they call the police, every time we think they about to do something for real about trying to pool their resources and practice group economics, every time we think they got it, one of them can say something and split the whole group up, and now they all infighting and sitting around thinking, watch this. This is the really sad part. I got to say this. Thinking that anybody who's actually doing something is still working for the master. You slave-minded motherfuckers.
If those of us that doing the work, we were still working for the master, we would be defeating our own purpose. I really. You can divide black people. You don't have to trick them. I don't understand how you give people solutions to say you're tricking them. We could just keep feeding them more of the destruction we already have.
Well, hold on. Let's back up a minute because you asked this earlier. The definition of an agent is someone who infiltrates a movement, disrupts the movement, and destroys it. I got to clear some shit up on your show.
Go ahead, Kalita.
How in the hell can I infiltrate my own movement?
Because you woke up one morning.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me say what I'm going to say. No, let me say. The NFAC wasn't created to become a part of the shit that y'all already had. We are an entirely new movement, and all of you all were already doing whatever the hell you was doing. We didn't come to join up with you. This ain't chapter of whatever you was already doing. We're a totally new animal. So I don't have to infiltrate some shit that I woke up, that I was given the vision of, that other people see that we're walking in. If anything, you don't understand it. You're intimidated by it. You're afraid of it. You don't understand it. You can't recreate it. And you wasn't the one given the vision. So you sit there and you try to criticize it, hurting your people all along. We ain't with that shit. Now that I got that off my chest, let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff that we said we were going to talk about. Let's go ahead and move on.
But I agree. 100%.
Think we go ahead and talk about that.
I think that's a big, division in our community. We always want to do that. But I've just learned it come with the territory. So let's go there and we talk about the territory. A lot of people like to talk but they don't walk in shoes like ours.
Correct.
And let me say what I mean by ours.
Correct.
Okay. What I mean is that you're out there doing the work. You have the pressure on you. You have eyes on you. You are leading something, and people are looking to you for direction, guidance. They're looking for your vision. How is it unfolded? How do you do this? Right. And so I laugh because many people would say, well, you ain't nobody or you an agent because you just came out of nowhere. But we know that people like me and you and some of you that are out there doing the work, you know who you are. We've been doing this for a long time, right? So there comes this moment when you're doing this work and you went out and you did work and you worked all day and you talked to 20 people, right? You did a little video and you did a live and maybe 500 people looked at it, right? But it's about not what you do, it's who you are. So you're constantly doing these things. And then all of a sudden one day, everything that you've been doing in your life that has created who you are, getting you ready for a moment, you go to sleep and it's the matter of a day. And the next day you wake up and everything's different. The vision is now come to fruition and the creator says, it's time. And then this light is shining on you and your video goes from 500 people to all kinds of people. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has the camera on you. Everybody want to tell you how you should be running your shit when they don't run nothing. Half of them don't even run their house right. Okay. But they got all these ideas, but they've done none of this work. And then all of a sudden you came from out of nowhere, you know, but what does that feel like first from the nowhere? And then that difference from one morning to the next when everything just said it's time.
First of all, you cannot begin to answer that question unless you acknowledge the fact that were you actually nowhere? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In order for that question to be effective, the individual would have to have come from nowhere.
Right.
But if you didn't come from nowhere, you have to go back and remember there are people in the music business who finally get a hit song and you can't get away from the damn song. It's everywhere. It's on your job at work. It's on church. It's in the Uber. You can't get away from it. It's on the dial tone. Mm-hmm. And everybody, they think this person came out of nowhere. But then you go and do your research on them and find out, wow, they've been in the game for 8, 9, 10, 12 years. They finally got a hit. Well, the activism path is the same way. Mm-hmm. If your life is a path, and depending on what you experience, it's either going to add to you or take away from you, but it's going to leave you changed. So when people tell you, when you, like you said, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did all of these things, and then all of a sudden you did this, you looking at it wrong. What you're looking at are the things along the pathway that led to this. People say, well, you came out of nowhere. You don't know your damn history. Because you're looking in the wrong damn place. You're letting somebody show you glimpses into a past that you're too lazy and go research yourself. That's why I don't respond to some people, because I got history on them. I got receipts on them. And I go like, and you got the nerve to sit there and look me in my face and act like you don't know who I am no more. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody comes from nowhere, especially if they're making a difference and they're having an impact. No one gets that overnight. I read somewhere once that people say, well, you're very charismatic. Where did you learn that? I say, charisma is not something you learn. Charisma is a gift that you are given. Mm-hmm. You cannot learn that. The same way that a talent is something that you can learn. But a gift is something that's given to you. A gifted piano player, you've never been taught. That's a gift. So understanding the difference is that some people, when they suddenly come out of nowhere, they're walking in their purpose. Like you said, everything has added up. Let's go ahead and look backwards over time. And somebody would say, well, hold on a second. Like you asked me, what was the turning point? Well, there was no one turning point. There was a series of turns that happened. And if you look at it this way, instead of saying, well, okay, I want to know how you went from being a presidential candidate to being a pro-Black militant. How did that happen? No, there's a process. You can't jump from one to the other. There had to be some things that happened in the middle that shaped you, that mold you, that mixed you, that put the heat on you, put the pressure on you. And this is what came out the other side. If you take a perfectly innocent person who's never committed a crime in their life and you wrongly imprison them and you make them stay in that culture for a while, when they come home, they're going to be a street savvy, criminal-minded individual. They're going to still be the person that they was inside, but you put them in something. And put them in a pressure that they never would have experienced. Now they come home a different person. It's the same way with me. They say, okay, you were an activist, and then you were a presidential candidate, and then you worked in corporate America. How the hell did you end up being this person? All of those were things I tried that didn't work. still trying to get to the same goal, still trying to liberate my people, still trying to fix the ills that we see in our community. But it didn't work as a musician. It didn't work as a politician. It didn't work as an activist with the signs and the rainbows. But guess what? A study of the Constitution and a study of history reveal that if you form this right here and you make this move, you can change some shit.
Absolutely. That's why I say it's not what we do, it's who we are.
Right.
Right. It's who you are. And so when it's who you are, it's not about the actual thing you might be doing at that moment. It's about you saying, how do I get to an end goal? And that's your focus. And so it's a marathon, right? So you go to this first stop and you like, let me help out over here. And it's a small thing. You're like, what can I do to make my community better? What can I do to start to fix some things? Right. And then that grows into another thing you're over here doing and somewhere you're doing. And then you find this doesn't work. You know, I had that story kind of for myself too. Well, I used to march in the streets. I used to protest. That was a process, right? That was a process. We all go through that process. If you genuinely are out here as an activist doing something, you know that we're not lying. This is how it works. Like I went to the streets, I marched, I protested. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was mad. I was finna go out in the streets. I was finna yell. I was finna scream. I was finna throw some rocks.
Because you thought that was gonna change.
And I went home and I was like, after a while, you're like, ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed.
You write on these papers, and we stayed up all night putting glitter on the poster boards. Ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed. Keep going.
I went to the Black Lives Matter meetings, and I realized, wait a minute.
Ain't nothing changed.
This ain't what you talking about. This is some co-op. It ain't nothing changed. This is not the real deal. And so you go through all of these emotions trying to find the solution for the thing that your ultimate goal is, which is changing things for your people. Right. So you go through the motions of all of them. And for those that are genuine, we've had those moments and you're learning as you go. It's a process. Let me tell you something, to be in your shoes or to be where either one of us are, you can't just get there overnight. Correct. It is a process that you couldn't have done 5 years from now. I mean, before now, 10 years before now. You weren't ready until you were ready. And when life said, now I have prepared you, you've done these things. Now it's time.
So to answer the second part of your question, what does it feel like? And if you know anything, I'm facts over feelings. Mm-hmm. I learned that your feelings are your feelings are your biggest attractor. But in this particular instance, let me go ahead and answer this. It's not the first time for me where my name has come up and been all around the place. But I think that when this all started, I didn't think I did anything. Mm-hmm. When Brunswick happened, I was pissed. Mm-hmm. And I told you what we went down there to do. Mm-hmm. I wasn't thinking about a movement. It was about, I'm just sick of this bullshit.
Right.
And I wasn't the only one. So we didn't think about it. When it all blew up and it went viral and people was like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm thinking, okay, now everybody's inspired. That's good. Mm-hmm. But between then and Stone Mountain, it grew into something else. And now it was, I'll never forget what I told everybody. And no one ever shows this, but when we finished Stone Mountain, when we were back in the town, the little town of Stone Mountain, not up on the mountain, I said, you all just made history. You just walked into the history books. And then I watched how mainstream media ignored it or tried to twist it about something about the Confederate statue. But the point is, at that point, everything felt different. The energy was different. It was almost like we were reliving history. And then as it really started to blow up, I started getting the phone calls from the international leaders and so forth, and even had some other leaders of other countries that were acknowledging the NFAC and want to know what we were about and so forth. I think then that the feedback from the people became important to me because I started really listening to, we talked about older people. Yeah. Like, I mean, and we had a discussion with your engineer about how his older relative called him and tried to put him up. Baby, what's this not round thing? What's he, because I didn't say anything because a lot of people in their 90s, 80s, and 70s, they rock with NFAC. You know how many people have come to me? My granddaddy put me on to you. And I'm thinking, what did they... Y'all got to get these computers from these people. Y'all got gave your grandmama a laptop and stuck her upstairs, and now she's the one that's on your live right now trolling hard because that's what grandmama can do. She been here 105 trolling. And they're the ones that turn their younger children onto it. So with them, it was this: we're relieved that someone is finally at least looking like what we wanted to see before we leave here, and we good with that.
Yes, that's what it is. Because I'm shocked at how many elders love me, and I'm like, I be on here cussing. They're like, but no, we lived through what you talking about. Right. We've been so swayed to sleep. These are the generations that remember the strange fruit.
Right.
They remember all of those times. They remember the segregation. They remember the dogs and the craziness and the riots. And so,
but the scary part, even to them, and this has been communicated to me a lot, is don't get caught up in the moment. Understand that history is repeating itself.
So don't let it end like the last one. So we gotta do something.
Don't let it end like the last one. And remember, everything that you need to know has already been told to you by the last group that came through.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as a bloodless revolution. That shit don't even happen in the movies. Okay? Everything has been about land. Everything has been about money. And everything has been about political power with regards to controlling the black people. Gun control has always been about the black people. The slave codes and the black codes kept guns out of the hands of black people. And nobody cared as long as white people was arming themselves up in the woods and acting like they want to get back and be survivalists. But when black people got sick of police officers killing black people and started arming themselves legally as black people to protect black people, now all of a sudden they got all these new laws now. Now all of a sudden they tightening up background checks. Now all of a sudden now things that could not prevent you from buying a weapon before can now stop you from buying a weapon, not getting your CCW. Now you got a new president elect and the person that's supposed to be his sidekick that are the worst threat to gun rights and to the continued freedom of black people in this country. Don't get mad at me because you don't do your research. You got the intelligence of an 8th grader if you still walking around thinking just because you read it on Wiki or Google, you know something. You know nothing. Go back and study the history and find out who these people are that you rooting for. No, y'all, I told you earlier, we needed relief. And we still need release. We needed relief from that idiot that was sitting in the White House because he about to get everybody goddamn killed. If white people got to go in there and tell them, bro, you got to go because you about to get us killed. The black people down the street arming up and marching and shit. Everybody on this pro-black shit. Jay done got loose. Meech has got back. She done got a new studio and shit. Shit is crazy. You got to go, bro. Dragged his ass women. Y'all laughing. He rolling. I'm telling it, listen. So now they done got some people in there that we a little friendly with, but that's the problem. We didn't win shit.
They do their racism nice.
Right,
See, Trump keep you on your toes.
Right.
You know?
And I know this is gonna sound crazy. I know, but see, the only thing that Trump did that was good was he exposed what was already there. He brought it to the surface because I like my racism in my face. Come on, just don't hide. Don't smile. Right. Come right up to me and say, I can't stand you. Right. Say it. Let me know who you are. Don't shake my hand while I'm going to lynch you later. I don't want that. And the same thing with my black brothers and sisters. If you got a problem with our own skin, don't hide. Don't run around Black Lives Matter and all that weak ass shit that y'all was doing. But at the end of the day, you know damn well you don't have nothing to do with us, don't want to have nothing to do with us. Your idea of moving up is moving away from us. So don't even come at me like that. When the truth of the matter is, we in a situation right now where we got an internal fight that's going on, we got an external fight going on, and everybody's switching up masks and shit, and we don't know who nobody is. So they had to do something. So they got the passive racists now. Don't forget, Joe Biden is the one that said that he didn't want his children to go to school with black children because he didn't want to send them to a jungle. Do the research for yourself. Yeah. And then most importantly, do your research on this. Before they started marching Germans to the ovens, I'm talking about the Jews and y'all know what I'm talking about. Before they did that, one of the things they did was they made them register all their weapons with the government. Yes, they did. And then they created red laws, just like the ones they're trying to do now, where if you feel like somebody might be a danger, you can tell them the police to go get the guns from them. Y'all sitting around watching them. Biden is proposing the same thing. We need a gun registry, which is a violation of the Firearms Act, but they'll just change the law. The same way they want to make all of you all turn in your weapons by having these red laws. There are laws on the books that says you can't do this. They are going to change those laws. Why? Because black people are the largest group that's arming themselves right now. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
And a lot of the laws that are made to, I mean, even if you go back to loitering and standing around, that was after the plantations, and they could tell you, nigga, what you doing standing around here, and take you back, and now you're a criminal, so now we can legally make you a slave.
The 13th Amendment to the Constitution says, "Let no man be a slave, lest he be a criminal." So as long as we make them criminals, we can put them back in slavery. Big shout out to my people down in Louisiana that made me aware of how much modern day slavery is going on in that state. If there's any state that has exploited the 13th Amendment loophole by putting brothers back on the chain gangs, back in the cotton fields, back out picking cotton in 2020, they got them down there. I went down there and seen it. It's legalized slavery. See, what we should be doing, black people, instead of sitting back resting on our laurels and singing "we shall overcome" when we ain't overcame, what we should be doing is using the little bit of political power we got to get them to fix the 13th Amendment. Drop the piece that says, "lest he be a criminal." That means that y'all can't, there's no incentive for y'all to lock our ass back up, but you never wanted to let us go to start with because of all the money that's walking around now that's no longer worth anything to you. That's the problem. We were worth 4 million of us when they freed us off the plantations. And we were worth more than any other commodity in America. And that suddenly became worthless overnight. Now you got 57 million of us walking around. You know how much cheddar that is? They looking around that they can't own no more. They ain't trying to big you up. They ain't trying to even you up. They ain't trying to level up with you. They want to get rid of you. They want to denigrate you. Now they need to disarm you. And then what they do is this: once the red laws are on the books, and they have a registry with everybody's weapons, all they got to do is turn around and say there's an emergency where we feel like nobody can have a weapon right now. They've done this in other countries. And since they know where all the weapons are, they're going to give you 24 hours to bring your weapon to the local police station, or they're going to come to get it. Now, if y'all want to sit back and let that shit happen, you keep on bigging up Biden and Harris like they don't save the day. No, we needed relief from the Trump machine, but now we need a release from the system we're in right now.
We move too much when it comes to, so let me ask you this. Okay, what kind of problem do you think this is gonna cause? Let's talk about this. There's a lot of people out there right now. Y'all jumping, y'all cheering, y'all like electric slide, break dancing. Y'all done broke out the cardboard and shit for Kamala and Biden.
You done told your age, the cardboard.
They want the cardboard out. I mean, if it ain't the kitchen floor, you need cardboard.
I'm done. I gotta go. I see y'all later.
But
I'm going to turn the mic off, throw the mic down. I quit. I've quit better jobs.
But look,
come on now.
So everybody's happy. The media be on some bullshit. You know that they lie. They give you all narratives. Now, this is the crazy thing, right? So I'm talking to my mother. My mother's over in Africa, and she, she's been traveling abroad, and she's over there. She got dual citizenship now in Senegal. And so she's saying, let me tell you something. The media over there is crazy. They lie to y'all and tell y'all all kind of stuff. And the news we get gives us more stuff. Over there, they're suppressing it. Over there, they take stuff away out the searches. And I'm saying all of this to get to the fact that I don't know how many of y'all have really been paying attention to what they have been putting out there, but it looks like with voter fraud, states are getting ready to be flipped. There was a state where there was 160,000 mail-in votes that came in to the facility. All 160 or 70,000 of them had just Biden's name on it. Like they didn't circle in anything else. They didn't do nothing. They just wrote Biden and sent them in there. So them look fake to start with. There's a state where one of the officials gave people 3 more days to turn in their votes. You cannot change the law like that. So all those votes have to be thrown out. There were places where machines that some are saying this machine company is going back to Pelosi and her people. Pelosi hate Trump. And they're saying that these machines, actually, they know one machine has taken 40,000 votes that were for Trump, and the machine accidentally flipped them. We hear this stuff time and time again. Voter fraud's always been there. So people get mad and they say, well, Trump just is so a loser. I want to say that voter fraud is very real, but I want to talk about something in all of that saying this. So for all the people who feel like, we won, Trump is out of there, and people feel like they just got the devil out of hell and we don't have to worry about the devil no more because he don't exist. What happens if we find out in a couple weeks with all of this investigation, Trump still is the president? What do you think that's going to do to people?
Well, first of all, that illustrates, and I'm not insulting anyone, it illustrates an ignorance of the second level of legislature and the executive branch of the United States government, which is something I had to become versed on when I ran for the presidency myself. It doesn't make a difference whether or not the popular vote in its dispute comes back in his favor. It is the votes that are cast by the Electoral College that cannot be changed. And the wide margin that there is that they've cast for Biden so far, there's no way that they would flip that. They cannot take it to the Supreme Court because of the simple fact that if they find out, when you say voter fraud, you have to understand the definition of voter fraud. Voter fraud does not mean that you intercept the transmission of those votes. If they didn't show up on time somewhere, that's not voter fraud. That's an operational malfunction of the government, but that's not voter fraud. Voter fraud is when you go in and someone casts a vote and you change their vote.
They're like the machines.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. However, it still doesn't make a difference. You can't change the Electoral College votes. That's the law. Study the law. It'll let you know. That's why once they're cast, that's why they don't like to say we're going to call a state until we know, because once that's cast, you can't change it.
But like in the state where they said that those votes were flipped for
which state
Trump,
was that? Which state was
Trump versus Biden? I don't know. It's 7. I want to say it's Pennsylvania. I think they were saying that if those votes actually can't be counted because the machine messed them up, they have to give them back to Trump. They're saying that he may have actually won, and then they have to give those electoral colleges to him if they find that the machine. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of this talk going on.
So here's where
so
they
what
can
if
talk all they want.
But what if historically with the lawsuits, they find that Trump really won?
They can talk all they want. You have to go back and look at historical precedents. In the history of this country, that has never happened, ever.
It might.
Now let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and entertain it. Let's entertain it. Let's entertain it. But let's entertain it. Let's entertain it. Let's entertain it for a second. So let's just say we wake up, because the media is always lying. Today's lie.
Well, the government likes to start stuff. So I'm saying, what if they get people
never
worked
waste
up,
a good crisis,
and then they go ahead and
never
flip
waste
it
a good
to
crisis.
put people in this state of chaos. That's what I'm saying.
Let's entertain it. Let's go ahead and turn up the music. So let's just say that through whatever finaglery they do, they come back and say that, it was some fuckery. I'm gonna use that word, and we got to let this man stay in office for 4 more years. That doesn't change the congressional shift that's happening.
Right.
And people need to understand the president doesn't make the laws. He doesn't. The Congress does. Right. And there's been a shakeup in the Congress, which means he would be a lame duck president for the next 4 years because the Congress would not support him at all. And that has happened in the history of this country, where there's someone who's landed in the White House and nobody wanted them there. Don't you know we had an independent? That's why they changed the laws for independence to get to the White House, because it actually happened. And neither one of the parties supported this motherfucker. So he's sitting there like, well, damn. I can get no support from the Congress because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. So I can't get any laws passed. He's going to end up being a lame duck president sitting on because it's not the same Congress that showed him so much love and turned the blind eye. He doesn't have that power anymore. The lawmakers now. And matter of fact, I think this year is more women actually going into the new Congress than ever before. And you all know that he's not a fan of Miss Grab him by the. I ain't gonna say that on your show, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. So no. There's not. Let me tell you what's not going to happen.
People don't study the facts of what goes on. I'm talking about the emotional state. See, because all of this that white people were getting ready to start killing folks and going to civil war.
They weren't gonna kill folks. They weren't gonna kill nobody.
No, they weren't. But that's what the media projected. And
but the media ain't gonna kill nobody either.
No, but the people who got in their feelings, they bought that. So I'm saying the government and the media likes to project a lot of things to everybody, get people in their emotions, and cause chaos where it really wasn't any. It's controlled chaos. Right. They wanted to get chaos, right? And so I'm just saying, if that's something they were to do, it would be a oh my God moment. It would be something you've never seen. But what do you think that would do to people who would say, wait a minute, we won, he didn't? What type of a civil uproar would that continue to keep us in? Every week, every month, there's a shooting. Somebody marching, protesting about this. I think they keep feeding that energy.
I believe that from a civil standpoint, that those individuals, just like the individuals who showed up in Washington yesterday, would become re-energized and would become empowered. That it wouldn't be the president that would be our greatest problem. It would be these people who are not the brightest group. I'm not knocking. I'm just being honest. I listen to what they say. They're not the brightest group. That through their own stupidity, that they would push this country over the precipice into a civil war that wouldn't last long, but it would result in some civil action where you would see a few things you've never seen before. Okay. And the world is watching. And I guarantee you, when you say some things you've never seen before, let's go ahead and entertain the full thought. Any civil unrest in this country that is spinning out of the fact that we are still under a regime that has done nothing but elevate the wide gulf in racial tensions in this country to push it over the edge, would open the door for the United States to become so unstable that it would make itself prime target for a coup. Coups are performed by militias. Study history. Coups are performed by the military or the militias. So anybody that would think that an environment that where now whites are fighting for political reasons, are fighting in the streets, don't act like we're not in the middle of all of that.
Right.
We would be smack dab in the middle of that, which would mean the NFAC is unique because you would not be fighting just us. Because I wouldn't hesitate to call every ally globally to our defense. That would destabilize this country. I know white people crazy, but I know they're not that crazy in the same way they have people in think tanks right now that have already strategized out what could happen. That's why the media won't give this too much shine because it's contagious. If 57 million people go the route that we go, there's a three-front war going on. You've got the right and the left wing fighting, which we're neither of. In the middle, you've got the liberation wing fighting, because then the black pro movement would then turn into something else. And you're either with us or you're against us. Not just us, NFAC. I'm talking about the movement. You're either with us or against us. Because while these motherfuckers are fighting each other and tearing up the country because they don't want to be under this guy, and we're caught in the middle, we got to defend ourselves too. It's time for us to lift up, pack up, and get the hell on, or carve out our own space. That's what it's going to create since we're digging around in the what if barrel. Okay, this is in the what if. Now, would there be violence? Yes. Would there be violence? Yes. Would there be bloodshed? Yes. Would there be destruction? Yes. But see, people don't seem to understand there's a difference between having a fight and conducting a war against a country. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a series of battles.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I think that the tension they're building up. And to me, I think it's a bigger picture of what the government wants to do to be able to lock down. If they put the country in chaos, then they could come along and say, for your safety, we got to do ABC.
Let me help.
Like every week, it's another thing.
It doesn't make a difference.
Fighting, screaming,
watch this, my sister. But watch this. Watch this. It doesn't make a difference because there's one thing that everybody keeps ignoring, and we all ignoring it comfortably. That's this. And that's what Joe Biden brings to the front. You want to start a civil war here for real? Try to confiscate everybody's guns, not just black people's guns, everybody's guns. So what I'm getting at is when you said control the country, even though we're still under state of emergency, that order hasn't been rescinded. We're still under all of those acts that have to be put in place to declare martial law. The National Guard is quietly on station in every state. Most people don't even know that. Go check at your local convention center. They've turned those into living quarters for soldiers. So they got a place already for them to be. But martial law understands that if they bring in the military to try to administer law, they too know we're going to have to disarm the public. And if they try to do that, it's going to be black people and white people. I can say it right now. Everybody watching, if they come to get your guns, what you going to do? Now, if you got a gun at the crib right now and they say we had to come get your gun,
nobody's going to be
ain't nobody giving up their heat.
About nothing else. Everybody going to be
like,
we fighting for our guns.
Right, you damn right. That's everybody going to fight for the.
Everybody go.
We have 432 million guns in this country. Ain't nobody giving them the guns that they can track. Yeah, and y'all keep acting like people can't get guns illegally. NFAC has proven that we can do it legally. Heaven forbid you push us into an illegal position where we got to go to the black market to arm ourselves, because then everybody coming out with all kind of shit. Where you get that from? They selling this down the street. We got dynamite, grenades, flamethrowers, napalm. Shit on sale, bro.
That's the period.
And it ain't look.
And
there's no background check. They ain't even doing back. You come on in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside, though, we telling the truth, laughing about it, but the truth of the matter.
I agree. I mean, in that vein of what I'm saying is that they do play this game, and I do think they want to put us in a position of Marshall. I'm just looking at all the tension, and so I never.
But let me ask you the question. Since you asked me, what do you think is going to happen if they flip these states over and okay, you wake up the next day and the bullshit is going on for 4 more years? Okay.
I'm gonna be in my house.
What are you gonna know? What do you think will happen? Let me ask you this.
Well, if they do that, I think that it's just gonna cause more of an uprising in attention. I don't really think that
uprising in attention. Yes. When people getting busted in their ass, the tension is way past uprising.
No, I'm saying it's just gonna cause more of that, right?
More people getting busted in their ass.
Well, all of these deaths, everything that's going on, even with quarantine, we supposed to be quarantined. Since quarantine, we ain't seen nothing but riot, protesting, looting, burning. All kind of shit. That's it.
Because people are tired of being in the house. Right. This is what happened when you coop people up in the house and you find out you don't know these people. You ready to burn something. You ready to shoot something.
I will tell you that people do just be going to protest because they just want to get out of the house.
Exactly. They don't even know what the protest about. They just out there.
But they play
screaming shit. They like
emotions.
No,
I think that people emotions.
I believe that protesting has become a pastime like basketball, baseball. People don't really protest no more.
It has, but the media and the government, I think, will use it to an extent. I guess this is my ultimate looking at what they're trying to do when it comes to the government and the media wants to spin this. I see more versus like this civil real war against everybody that they want to show uprising. The media will make you think that these things are going on more than they really are. And what they want to do is implement a lockdown of martial law so they can take a little bit more of our rights. The government creates the issue and then tell you we got to do it to save
so let me speak
from
to
the
something
shit they cause.
Okay, so let me speak to something that I've noticed. Okay. And what I've noticed is you're absolutely correct in everything you said. But what I've noticed is there's this split within the white society where you've got folks that think just like that's the best way to go. We need to lock these people down. We need to control these people. But then you got this other group over here that they're not really with that.
Right.
They might have another plan. So what they're doing is they're working against these people. What I've noticed is this. Every news agency outside of the United States tells the story like it is. Mm-hmm. Every story about NFAC that I've seen in every other country, if you don't live here, that's the scariest shit. People have asked, where is this happening? That's in the United States. They're reporting that. What they're not doing is they're not telling the narrative the way they want them to tell it. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? I've noticed that. I look at the stories that come out internationally and I look at what's mentioned here at home. And it's two different narratives.
Absolutely, with everything.
It's two different narratives.
Mm-hmm.
But the impression that they're giving to the world is that if they try to pull something like that, then these are the people that are prepared to go to war with them. They don't show the white groups that are prepared to go to war. They're showing us as getting ready to go to war with them. And I noticed that. But in the States, that's not being,
No, you're telling the truth. My mother told me that. My mother said, look, living abroad, I told my audience the other day, you should take the time to watch a news channel outside and see how they talk about the U.S. Yes. And they are talking about a lot of things that they're not even bringing up in our media here at all. Right. And because they project the picture for like in this bubble, Angola. They want to keep us.
They're not talking about what's going on. They're not talking about what's happening in Africa. They're not. Matter of fact, when the SARS situation was going down and people were getting killed at the border, they didn't even talk about it in the mainstream media. It was talked about on social media. Okay, if you talk about what's happening in Angola right now, if you talk about what's happening in Ethiopia right now, they're not talking about any of that. And the crazy part about it, they might show you something like, well, one person or two people. No, the army is bombing people in this particular part of the region, and they're not talking about that. Why? Because America's not doing it. America's not benefiting from it. It doesn't benefit Western society. They rather talk about something that ain't got, they rather talk about, okay, well, COVID's making a comeback. That ain't nothing new. We knew that when they had the Black Plague back in 1918, it came back 3 times. Why y'all acting like this is a surprise? It's not a surprise because that's anything to avoid talking about what they should be talking about.
Yeah, you're right. But that's what I'm saying. Media in America is actually a weapon used to control us mentally. They use it for subliminal messaging. They use it. TV wasn't created for your entertainment. It was really created to condition people. Right. And so America uses that as a weapon against us to give you an illusion of freedom. But really, a lot of the steps you take day to day, a lot of the things you think are not your own thoughts in your own ways, but you just think they are. Right. So it's a very brilliant weapon. That
you've done a great job at describing the Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the matrix we live in. And that's why when people wake up from the matrix, they can't put us back to sleep.
Yeah, and that's
they have
difficult.
They got to find. They got to.
So few.
They got to find your body. They got to find your body in it where all the bodies are and disconnect you. But that's what you just described. That's what you just described.
Absolutely. So I would say, let me see. Okay, we've been here an hour. We're not gonna stay too long. You know, I want to discuss though before we do get out of here this evening. There is an event coming up. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I do this work, and the reward is really seeing solutions in our people, and that's the greatest reward, you know, because you know your work is effective. Anybody who's genuine in doing this, and I don't know who would do all this and not be genuine after a while. You don't have the momentum to keep going,
right?
But when you do this, the greatest reward is to see the results of the work that you do. You know, so I don't know if you're anything like me, but I could care less about, you know, getting plaques and stuff. But at the same time, in awards, it is nice to be acknowledged by the people who care for you and that you're putting the work out there for. So I want you to tell everybody what's coming up in a couple of weekends, right? He's being awarded. So we have an event that's coming up, and Mechee's getting an award too. I just found this out yesterday. So we will both be getting awards together. But tell everybody about the event that's coming up.
That's going to be November the 28th in Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Black People United Global Networks. Apparently, I am the 2020 Global Leader. A Black Global Leadership Award is being given to me by the I Am Awards, and that'll be happening. And like you said, you're getting an awards. I think there's a few other legends that'll be in the house. I wasn't expecting an award. I thought that, you know, work should stand for itself. But I will be accepting the award on behalf of the NFAC. That's what this is for. I'll have all my commanders there. I didn't do this by myself, so they're gonna stand with me. I am honored to take the award. I think it was funny because when I talked to the people who were giving me the award, they said that they got phone calls. I got to say this: they got phone calls. A big shout out to Dr.
What? Tell them don't give it to you?
Right? No. That's not. It's something worse. It's worse. No. I got something better than that. Listen to this. Let me show you how busy people are. She said that they called her up and said, he won't accept anyone else's award. We've all offered him awards and he's turned our awards down. What makes your award so special that he's accepting your award? And I'm like, who told you that? Ain't nobody offered me no award. I would never turn down accolades that somebody wants to give me if that's what they want to do. Right. And what was you supposed to be like? Well, he don't want y'all award or he ain't getting mine either. Or something like that. They was like, she said, I hung up in their face. She said, that's how our people are when people are awarded for trying to move us forward as a people. So that's going to be November 28th, and it's sold out.
Sold out.
It is sold out. For those of y'all who just your first time, it is sold out.
Can't come. Sorry.
It's all but I don't know why she wanted to talk about something you can't get in. But here's why, because there's a possibility they're going to do the pay-per-view or they're going to live.
Yes, and this is why I said it. So I will keep you guys updated. Shout out to my team. So we're trying to work with the people that run the event, and we're going to be helping them to set up everything. I don't want to give all the details now, but hopefully we may have a live stream for that. I don't know if it's a pay-per-view live stream or just streaming from a network. We don't have those details yet, but it's looking like it will be broadcast somewhere for you guys. So you will be able to be in-house without being in-house. But I also wanted to bring it up because I just wanted to, give you your roses while you can smell them. And there's a lot of people who can't go, but I want people to know. And I think that the award is very fitting because there's not another Black leader in the Black community that is doing work that has reached globally, like that. You are doing that. I see all the time, all of the news overseas. My mom sees it and she's not even here. So, he is really recognized and bringing that together. And you are the only one that has done that. So I think it's a very fitting award. And I just wanted to, throw that out there. So you guys can congratulate him if you can't show up in the place, right? So we had to put that out there, but I will keep you guys updated.
But you said you're getting an award too, right?
I am, but I just found out at the last minute. Like I just got called the other day, and people was like, "Oh, we love you, and we cannot not give you an award." I'm like, for real, I don't need one. But I didn't know that I was going to go to support. I knew you were getting yours. I'm a friend of mine. She has a table. They're coming down here so that we can, be there to celebrate with all the other awardees. And then I got a call today from someone that said they work directly with the people and they wanted my information because they want to give me an award as well. So I'm honored. Of course, I will be accepting mine on the behalf of the Black Agenda. As you said, I don't do this alone. You know,
Right.
it's one thing to be a visionary, but if there's nobody to help you with your vision, the real leaders delegate responsibilities
Correct.
and things to other people. And a real movement is a movement that's moved by the people. The people is the fuel for that. And so, you know, we could do everything that we do, but if the people weren't there to support us, to help us, to back us up, to make sure that it happens, because we can only do so much on our own, it wouldn't move forward. So, you know, real leaders know that, and we know that anything that we get and acknowledging us, we should acknowledge our teams, because none of us do it alone. So I definitely agree with that. So with that said, is there anything else you want to leave everybody with before we get out of here?
I'm gonna leave everybody with a parting thought, and the thought is: in the spring of 2021, we've been talking about 1 million guns in one place. We've been looking at places, and somebody sent me a letter and said, "Do you really believe that if you put 1 million guns in one place, that wouldn't be an irresistible target, that the Klan could wipe us out?" And I said to them, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this: why are you so afraid of the white man? That's the question every one of you needs to ask yourself. Why? Because every time he says boo, y'all jump. You even give the thought energy, and we don't. If there's 1 million of us there, it would take 1 million plus to come against us. So that's not even a realistic question. But why are y'all so afraid of the white man, but have no fear of the black man? And that's my thought. Because as far as I'm concerned, they don't separate us. So why do you? Just be black. That's my last words. I'm good.
Like, subscribe, share. Have a wonderful night. I love you to life.
Shalom.
And I stand with you until death. Let's go get this knowledge and go get free. I will talk to you guys later.
Does that post instantly?